This is a game that we have been waiting for our entire lives. That's right, everyone. Thomas and Friends is getting a new video game, and it is absolutely amazing. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at this image. If this is what Thomas looks like in this video game, Gordon, Thomas, Emily, and everyone, and this is what you see here, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It looks like the CGI series. It looks absolutely like the CGI series. And the fact that we might be able to play in this wonderful seemingly sandbox style game with Thomas and his friends just seems amazing. Okay, but let's talk about this. So game is called Thomas and Friends Wonders of Sodor by Dovetail Games, right? They also are in partnership with Mattel, so they have some sort of license or contract agreement going there. And everything. Let's just kind of look over the trailer. So this is the trailer that they release, right? That's very exciting right here. This trailer, it's an old new game, and look, that's straight out of the model series. And they could say we could explore the island of Sodor there, and it is absolutely amazing what we can see here. Like they have signals working. They have Percy and Thomas side by side in there pulling to a station. I mean, that's absolutely incredible, right? It says, we're absolutely thrilled to announce in collaboration with our friends at Mattel, Dovetail will be releasing a brand new standalone Thomas and Friends experience across the Island of Sodor. Thomas and Friends Wonders of Sodor will be coming soon. This is a big point. Soon in 2026. That's this year. So now, of course, it could be like the end of 2026. Soon in 2026 seems to me would be not necessarily December. I mean, who knows? But that's pretty close. They don't have a more specific date than that, right? There's nothing more specific than 2026, but it is absolutely awesome that we're going to get this game, right? And then you could kind of explore Thomas and Friends there, right? So there's different narratives. They say they have different stories, right? Different stories that they're pulling from the Thomas and Friends franchise. And of course, you could say you could explore the Isle of Sodor there. And there's some beautiful graphics that we've seen in the show itself that just kind of like, it's just beautiful. It looks amazing. This is clearly using some of the more modern gaming technology available to us, the modern gaming engines that are available to us today than some of the stuff we might have had in the past there. And of course, it doesn't look as, blocky as you might see some of the mobile games, right? I don't know if any of you guys have played any of the mobile Thomas games before, but it's Thomas, but it's a little bit more, toy-like. It's not as beautiful as looking at this. I mean, there's reflection in the water there, or at least there's the appearance of reflection, I should say. It looks like it's reflecting light. But of course, that's all these tricks there. So you could take the controls of different characters: Thomas, Percy, Gordon, Emily, and Diesel. And then they said that if you purchase the deluxe package, you could also get James. And the question is, of course, which characters do you choose? Are these the most important characters? The most popular characters in the franchise? I think that there's a good argument to be made there. Thomas, of course, has to be included. Gordon is extremely popular, right? Express coming through, right? Percy is Thomas's best friend. Everyone loves Percy. I mean, they even have Percy with the Day Out with Thomas, right, where you could go out in real life to a railroad and ride a train pulled by Thomas and Percy, right? So Percy is very popular. And then, of course, we got Diesel and Emily to sort of round out the cast here, right? It's not quite the Steam team. Diesel is not a steam engine, for example. He's a diesel engine. But he's a common popular, anti-hero villain figure in the Thomas and Friends franchise. And also, of course, he got main character status in All Engines Go. So, of course, they're going to try and include him. Emily, of course, very popular. She's a steam engine. She also has just a beautiful design. I mean, just look at the way that, she looks like a really awesome engine. So, so that's really, really cool. So I'm not surprised Emily's included. And, of course, James. James was included. I don't know if there's a picture. There is James. Right there, right in the deluxe edition. I don't know what that means. Is that going to be an add-on that they're going to charge? Is it going to be a DLC? Is it going to be expansion pack? I mean, there's releasing on a lot of different platforms like Steam and Switch and Epic Games. So I'm not sure what their monetization policy is going to be. But my guess is that James is going to be either an add-on that you could add on top of things, or something that you purchase right from the get-go, right? You have to buy the original package, and then you won't be able to buy James later, except for like, I don't know, maybe a year later. With these kinds of things, you're kind of getting this set of like, you want to collect them all kind of style, right? It's kind of like Pokemon, right? Catch all the engines. Right? And so somebody who's a big collector and really enjoys this game might say like, I want to play all the engines, right? So if they don't buy James initially, they want James later, but maybe the company doesn't want, like, say like, hey, you know, we're gonna reward our customers that brought the Wonder Edition first, and then we'll let you buy James as an add-on maybe later on, maybe a year later. My guess it wouldn't be that long, honestly. And then I think, and if I were Dovetail Games, I would release even more characters as DLC or expansions through after 2026, right? Because people would purchase money, right? With a lot of these games, it's sort of one and done. You purchase the game, and then you don't really buy any more games beyond that. Right? It's a one-time purchase. But with these sort of these new model of games now, and when I say now, I mean like maybe in like last 20 years, you have multiple purchases. You know, you purchase this here and there, and especially with a lot of rail simulators, where you buy expansions, like you buy access to different engines or different areas, kind of thing here. And so I think that's what this game, Dovetail Games, is gonna do. Is they're going to release different engines as expansions. So I bet in the future you'll probably get Edward and Henry, right? You know, you can't forget Edward and Henry. Edward's the best, you know, number 2 engine. So that, and then maybe other areas around Sodor too. Obviously we want it for free, but I have a feeling that it would be more of a additional purchase kind of thing here, and of course additional stories here, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, who among us hasn't as a fan of Thomas and Friends wanted to build the layout to replicate the stories that we saw in the TV shows? How many of us have not tried to build even a small fraction of the Isle of Sodor and have the trains move as if they were in the story themselves? As kids, right? I did so on my Brio trains, my Thomas Wooden Railway sets, replicating some of the stories that I've saw in the model series there, right? So, so to be able to play out these stories now in this game is, well, absolutely awesome. It's phenomenal, and such. It's true. There's another video they released of the Thomas and Friends there, and you can see like now for station got the turntable. I mean, it looks great. It looks great. Also, I've noticed that it doesn't quite look like the new Thomas that they've seen in the release for the new 2026 series. This looks more like the original CGI style or model style. If you will. So it's not too big. It's not gonna be a big surprise for anyone. It's gonna be, and I think that's intentional. One, because they probably didn't have the new models, the new design out yet in combination with this game company. Although it is very possible that in the future the Dovetail will release the new Thomas style as a DLC or expansion or as an add-on, or maybe even for free. If Mattel is saying like, hey, we need to promote this new series. Let's give people something free there, so so that we get we get people interested in new Thomas in 2026 Thomas. So that's really exciting. I mean, look. They have all these. They have Xbox right down here. Xbox, PS5. PS4, that's interesting. Steam and Switch. So like they're serious about this. They're serious about this game. They're putting in a lot of different platforms. They're hitting all the 3 major consoles: Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC, which of course is what I like to play. I like to play gun games on PC, so that's really exciting. Here's another thing I want to bring up here is you see a lot of these images from sort of like from the back end perspective right here. See like how you're inside the engine cab? You're inside the engine cab, and then there's another image like somewhere around here in the bottom, I think, where you kind of have where you're looking through sort of the engine cab itself. I don't know where that image went. Okay. But that's pretty cool, right? So basically it's this one right here. It's this one right here where they're saying, hey, you're going to feel as if you are a driver in Thomas right? You are a driver or an engineer for American parlance, driving Thomas, down the tracks in the Isle of Sodor. Now, that's probably not the only perspective. You probably could do an outside perspective. You could also probably have you could probably change your perspective from different angles, because of course, people are not going to always want to be inside the cab. They want to see Thomas, right? Or they want to see the coaches. And everything. And there's going to be, I think South Park, that they're gonna have more. They're gonna release more of these engines as expansions. I think this group right here, and it plus James is just the initial group, and then in DLC expansions for adding I don't know, $15, $20, $30, who knows? They'll say like, oh, you can also get Edward and Toby and Henry, and then maybe we'll go get Bill and Ben and Donald Douglas, and maybe. I think that honestly that they're going to do a lot of the characters they might focus on the 2026 show, even if it's not necessarily the new design, but they just to work in tandem with Mattel, saying, hey, new 2026 show, we want to promote it. I'm hoping also they'll also bring in some characters from All Engines Go. I know not everyone's a big fan of All Engines Go, but I really did like Kana and Kana's design, and she is a Shinkansen, so I would imagine that if we played Kana, she would go extremely fast. I would hope so. If everyone's going the same speed, I would understand it, but I would also be like, come on. Gordon is clearly faster than Thomas. Thomas is great. I love Thomas, but Gordon is pulling the express. Like we all know how that works out. I also expect Nia would also be a DLC that would come up soon. She's a fairly popular character as well. But we already have 3 of those characters from All Engines Go right here, right? Percy, Diesel, and Thomas. So the other 2 rounding out the cast doesn't really kind of surprise me. Yeah, it's really good that Dovetail is doing this, because I think Dovetail seems to have the experience and the know-how to make this really work out, right? As a fun kind of experience for Thomas and friends there. Notice also this perspective, right? This is like this image alone probably is from the game, and it looks as if they're looking out and saying like, hey, you know what? You're able to watch as Thomas proceeds down the line from the engineering cab, right? They're talking a little bit about what kind of experience is he here? What can you do here, right? And there's story modes, right? There's scenarios that are fully narrated, which is really cool. Like if you're playing an episode of Thomas, but also it looks like you could also just kind of ride around. You could go straight into his cab and move around Thomas there. You can carry passengers along with you. Right, that's pretty cool. I also see that there's also some ideas where you could also not necessarily have to be in the driver's seat. You could be one of the passengers, right? And be able to just kind of ride around with Thomas and friends, which I think was pretty cool. I believe I read that somewhere around here. Transport freights, yeah, carry passengers. It's all very exciting. Like these different options here. And I can't wait to see sort of what we have available to us. Maybe we can't ride as passengers, but I bet you could be pretty passive in some of these ways that these trains are running around there. No, Henry, they're probably only going to willing to invest a certain amount of money in designing the engines, because everything costs money, right? Everything costs money, and each character is going to get a lot of love, right? Like you wouldn't want to drive Henry if his smokestack, if his funnel was in the wrong spot, right? Because that'd be very upsetting, right? That'd be an error or a sin, as we like to say on this channel, right? It would not be correct, and people would be upset. You wouldn't want Henry in the game if he was missing a set of wheels, right? Like that's just not what Henry would be, right? It's not accurate. It's not Henry, right? It's still Henry, I guess. It's just Henry that's wrong. So it takes time for these computer programmers, for these graphic artists to come together and say, hey, let's make sure that the assets that we put together to make these engines are perfect, right? They reflect the light right, the smoke comes out correctly, the wheels move correctly, and a lot of that takes time. It takes a lot of hours, it takes a lot of energy, and of course it takes a lot of money to pay these people working on these assets. So they're not going to expend a ton of money on different characters until they know that they're going to get their return, right? This is a company, they're trying to make money. And so I definitely believe that Henry and Edward, Toby, and many of others will be available in the future as a DLC, as a downloadable content, or as an expansion that you could purchase. I don't think it won't be 2026, but I think in next year, 2027, assuming that this game sells well, right? If none of us buy the game and this game flops, they're not going to do anything, okay? So just kind of be aware of that. Dovetail wants us to buy this game. I'm probably going to buy this game. I'm pretty sure I think so. And then if people buy this game and Dovetail says like, oh, this is really popular, then they're going to release more. They'll release Henry and Toby and who knows what out there. So yeah, I don't know if some of the more side characters are really going to be released. You got to kind of imagine like there might be a few characters that we're never going to see in this game unless the game is extremely profitable. I don't think we'll see. I don't know. We may not see Peter Sam. I mean, I'm sorry to say it. But Peter Sam's pretty cool, but he's not one of the main Thomas cast that you would when you think of Thomas and you think of the first 10 characters of Thomas, Peter Sam is not on the top 10 list. He's pretty cool, but he's not like he's not Steam Team. So. Yeah, it said 2026, right? They're saying on their website, this is the Dovetail website. They're saying 2026, right? Soon in 2026. So I'm pretty sure that's going to come out this year. A lot of companies don't like to make these kinds of announcements and to dates unless they're sure that it's going to happen. I mean, some companies are just really bad. But look at this. Look at the footage that we already have. Look what we're seeing here. This is old game footage, it looks like. I mean, it could not be, but this looks like it's coming directly from the game itself. A lot of this is already built. A lot of this was already built. It's enough that they're saying like, hey, this looks good. We can make a trailer of this, and we're going to go ahead and expand this out there, right? And I really do think that we're not. This is not concept, right? This isn't just concept art. This isn't just sketches on a page. It's literal, I think, game footage that we're seeing here. So, I would not be shocked if this comes out in 2026, as they said they were. It's also powered by Train Sim World, so like I said, right, it's already built on an engine on a background that's already proven and tested, which is really good, which is really awesome, and I'm looking forward to the stories there. So that's exciting. I don't know what's gonna happen there, but I think we're gonna need a good Thomas game. I mean, like, there's some okay Thomas games. I definitely found it interesting to do the racing button game. I mean, okay, it's sort of brain dead kind of content, mobile content where you press the button and you race Thomas, and then they eventually want you to pay more money and such. Sure. I thought that was like relatively entertaining, and it was kind of fun. But this is the Thomas game that we all dreamed of as kids. Right, where you are driving a train on the Isle of Sodor, you see the scenery before you. Maybe other engines pass you by. You could go up Gordon's Hill. You could go into Henry's Tunnel. You could get stuck in Henry's Tunnel, maybe. Don't do that, and just experience the wonders here. You gotta be in the stories. You gotta be immersed in the world of Thomas and Friends. Like, that's amazing. That's what we all dreamed of as kids. That's what we were doing with our train sets. We were immersing ourselves, right? And now we got a whole game about it. So I really do think that here's the benefit, guys. Here's the benefit, and here's the reason why a game like this is coming out. One, the technology is there now, right? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they couldn't make a game like this. They could make a game that might be like kind of looks like Thomas, but it wouldn't look pretty. It wouldn't look anything like the model series, for example, right? At least this looks like, as good as the model series, if not, better. In terms of like, I mean, it's great. I'm not saying anything wrong about the model series. It just, it's models, right? So we're comparing technologies over decades of time. So that's one reason why they're making the game now. Number two, those of us, all of us, most of us are a little bit older than 5 years old. Now, if you are 5 years old and you're excited about this game, that's great. But I think this game was designed to appeal to people that are older than 5. And here's the reason why. We have money. I hate to say it as so pragmatically, so matter-of-factly, but I'm 38 years old. I'm 38 years old. I loved Thomas growing up, and now I have a job. I'm an adult. I have disposable income. I have the will and the means to pay for a game like this, and the desire to pay for the game like this, right? As when I was 5 years old, when I was 10 years old, I wouldn't have the money to buy a game like this. Yet I'd have to go and beg my parents, say, Mom, Dad, can you buy me this game? As an adult, I'm like, yeah, I'll go get the deluxe edition too. I'll throw in James, and if you release a DLC that gives me Edward, I'll buy that too. I'll buy it right now, right? Insert the meme where I'm like, you're throwing the credit card and you're waving it at the camera. Because we are fans, right? We're fans that have loved Thomas all our lives. From the first day that we saw a Thomas episode to today, we are Thomas fans that love Thomas all our lives, and we really enjoy the franchise. So of course, they're going to appeal to our nostalgia, and that's the really powerful force. I talked about this a lot on my Disney channel, how Disney appeals to nostalgia in order to make money. This is the exact same thing, right? Mattel is using this game, and Dovetail are using this game to appeal to our nostalgia in order to make money, because we are going to pay money for this. We are going to throw money at this game because we absolutely love it, right? It's the game of our dreams, right? And nostalgia is a very, very, very powerful force, right? So the fact that they make Thomas look a lot more like what we've seen in model series and the CGI series makes a lot of sense, right? It's not an All Engines Go style, right? All Engines Go is too new, right? There's no nostalgia with All Engines Go. A lot of kids like All Engines Go, and maybe in 20 years they'll be like, hey, you know what? Let's get an All Engines Go game that's like this, but they're not there yet. They're not the people with the adults with money yet, right? They're appealing to adults that have the money, and that's us. and we're willing to pay for it. We're willing to pay for it. And this is really exciting because if this game is successful, if we make this game truly profitable, and everyone's saying like, oh my gosh, Dovetail made a ton of money off of this. They're releasing new engines and new assets. You got Cranky yelling at you from the docks. Because that'd be hilarious, Cranky yelling at you from the docks. Then they'll be like, okay, you know what? Let's not only continue to release more engines and areas of Island of Sodor. Let's also maybe look into other companies might say, hey, let's look at other games that we could do about the Thomas and Friends franchise that may be interesting to the people with nostalgia, right? That'd be phenomenal, right? What if we had a game like this, but instead of like, just sort of kind of just being a train simulator, you could lay down tracks and you could build across different locations across the world, but also, have your Thomas and Friends with you, right? This game probably doesn't have you laying down tracks, is my guess. I could be wrong, right? And then you're appealing to those of us who like the Brio trains and the wooden railways and other, Trackmaster kind of stuff. The concerns I have for this game is, one, it might be delayed, right? Games like to promise, overpromise, and underdeliver sometimes, right? So it could be delayed because they say, oh, we're going to do it 2026, and then they're not quite get it there, and it'll be 2027. Okay, well, I'm okay waiting. This is a game worth waiting for, right? That's why I said Game of the Year in the thumbnail. I'm also concerned that maybe the routes and the Isle of Sodor isn't going to be as long as I'd hoped for. Right, the Isle of Sodor is not a big place, but it's also not a small place either, right? It takes some time to get from Station A to Station B to Station C. I wouldn't want it so where I'm immediately necessarily get from Station A to Station B, like in an instant, unless maybe I was doing like a story and I wanted to progress the story along. But generally speaking, a train simulator, I want to be able to see all the environment, right? I want to see everything that Thomas sees. I want to see the land around me as I pass by as a train. And I don't want it to be short. I don't want the route to be too short, right? If I leave and then 1 minute later I arrive at the next station and I'm only going like, 20 miles an hour, I'd be like, well, did we really need a train to go here? we could have taken a car. We could have taken a bus. Birdie could have beaten us. The great thing about trains is trains can go pretty fast, you know, at certain points, and they're very convenient. So yeah, absolutely. I definitely am looking forward to seeing where this goes with us, and the accuracy of these engines, and just being able to play around. I think everyone's excited. I think Unlucky Tug said. Was excited. I think I saw a comment on the original video. I think most Thomas fans who have seen this are excited, and I think we're all going to have a lot of fun times playing this game. But hey, you know what? Let me know what your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you think like this is a terrible game. It's a great game. You'll play it absolutely. You won't play it. You'll spend $100 on it, or £100. I know we have a lot of our British friends out there. 100 euros maybe. Obviously, this is a British-based franchise, so I'm an American, so I think in dollars. But there's a lot of but everything. This doesn't take place in America. I guess I might think about it. If on the Isle of Sodor, they probably do use pounds, right? They use pounds for all purchases. It's kind of interesting to think about. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun talking with this video, guys. I hope we'll get more information soon on everything. I'm looking forward to this game as it develops, and like I said, I'm looking forward to when they release more characters for purchase. I'll throw my money at it. I'll buy Edward. I'll be like, yeah, absolutely, I want Edward. Edward's cool. Take care, guys. Have a good one. I love you all, and I will see you guys for the next video. Bye-bye.